So just super quick, and as long as you're not a brain surgeon, you won't call me out on anything. But like if this is your brain, right? Here's your emotions, and here's all your logic, and there's names for all of these things. But like here's where your emotions sit, and here's where your logic sits. And when you're calm, like you are right now, you could be logical, right? And when you went and apologized for yelling, then you were logical, right? Your emotions were in check and your logic was taking over. The other day, when you kind of went off and yelled, your logic was out of here and your emotions were fully exposed and you were speaking very emotional. Does that sound right? So how do you get from your emotions speaking back to a logical state? What could you have done? And anyone, when you're in this like super emotional state, what can you do to get yourself back into a logical state of mind? Wonderful that you apologized, because it's so important to show kids that mistakes happen and we can apologize. Mm-hmm. A couple of years, probably about 2 years ago, I was not in a good state of mind for whatever reason. My husband wasn't here. My son was here. Like I needed something. And my son's like, can I do that for you? I was like, I said the F word. And I said to him, I was like, nobody gives a F, and I'm out of here. And I grabbed my keys and stormed out the door. Mm-hmm. And like my kid, he was like 16 at the time. So he was 16. So I didn't mind that I left him, but I literally stormed out the door, got in my car and sped away. And I was just like, what did I just do? Because now I left the situation. I had time to breathe. I was now calming down, and I was like, I just totally cursed out my kid and ran away from the situation. What the hell? And I came back and I totally apologized to him. And in positive discipline, there's like 4 steps to kind of owning up to a mistake. And I'm just going to read them because they're on my wall. It's recognize the mistake, reconnect. So like get together with your kid, right? Reconcile, apologize. Listen, I acted poorly. It's not the way I want to talk to you. It's not what I want to do. And then resolve the situation. I won't, I don't plan on doing that again. I'm going to take care of myself. Like you're teaching your kids that it's okay to make mistakes, and this is how you handle them when you make them. So beautiful job on that. What else do you think you could do when you flipped your lid, all of the emotions are coming out before you get to that point? What do you need? Anything that you guys can think of that you could do for yourself? We have walking away, we have coming back and apologizing, we have breathing. It's great, like counting to 10, breathing, walking away. Knowing yourself, like, do you get hangry, right? If you're hungry, you're going to get angry, right? So, okay, I'm going to make sure that I eat. I know that if I'm tired or hungry, like, guys, you probably shouldn't push my buttons right now because I'm going to flip my lid. I'm going to get all emotional. My kids have gotten very accustomed to me just going, I can't have this conversation right now. I'm walking away, and just walk away. And they'll be like, but we're talking. It's like, and I'll turn around to them and I'll say, I'm not going to say anything nice. I'm only going to talk from emotion. It's not where I want to be talking to you right now. I'm going to walk away. I'll come back in a few minutes. And sometimes I'll just tell them they need to walk away because they're not talking from a logical state of mind, right? So take care of yourself, right? Next week, I want to talk a little bit about self-care, but take care of yourself so that you can go into, you never know. You never know when they're going to push our buttons. You never know when they're going to kick off, and we're going to kick off. But if we can take care of ourselves, fill our cup, then we can pour what we have because we're full. All right. Yeah. What I would do is instead of it just being like, remember, like, don't be the pilot, right, with him in the back, like, be the co-pilot. Sit with him and your husband, whoever's involved, and say, like, I, as your parent, am seeing an issue, right? This is what I'm seeing, right? Is it what you're seeing? Okay. get that awareness, increase that, right? So you're both on the same page that there's a problem, and then solve it together, right? And he may say, you know what, I'm going to stay up till 1:30 in the morning. I'm going to come home from school. I'm going to hang out for 4 hours. Then I'm going to start doing my schoolwork, and I'm going to stay up till 1:30, right? And you're totally against that. I would be totally against that, right? But you know what? At some point, you almost got to let them fail a little bit. Let them kind of spread their wings and figure it out. And when it doesn't work, you try something new. So, and I'm not saying let them stay up till 1:30 in the morning, but work together to come to a solution. And this is for all of us as parents. When a problem comes up with teens and tweens, we don't want to just tell them what to do, because that goes against everything that they feel is growing inside of them as a teen. That independence, that, figuring out their own boundaries, that making their own mistakes, making their own decisions if we're telling them what to do. So what do you think will work? I think I should stay up till 1:30 in the morning. Okay, but then you're not going to be able to wake up for school. So maybe we could shut you down at like 12, and 12 o'clock you go to sleep, and you still have to wake up at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, whatever it is, and go to school, and we'll see how that works. If we continue to just make it our problem, then it becomes our problem, and we're not letting our children learn from that growth. My son lost the key to the car the other day, right? So now we only have one key left to the car that he drives, all right? And he called and he was like, I lost the key. And I said, okay, you got to go get a new key made up. He's like, I have no idea where to start. And I said, well, it's a Honda car. Go down to the Honda dealership. He's like, where is it? I said, look it up. And he went down to the Honda dealership and he called me. He's like, they're telling me to go someplace else. I was like, then go someplace else. And he called me. He's like, it's not the right place. I was like, babe, you're going to be 18 in 2 weeks. I love you. You got this. I will see you later. And he came home without a key because he needed to make an appointment and all this other stuff. He's like, I tried. I was like, great, lessons learned. So now what's your next step? He's like, I got to make an appointment. I was like, great, go make an appointment because you lost the damn key. So go make an appointment. We have to let them fail a little bit, right? We don't want them to fail on big things because we don't want them to fail on big things. We don't want their life to be tragically impacted over a stupid mistake. But we have to let them learn. And we can let them learn by joining forces to problem solve. Like, we should stop solving their problems for them, but we should work with them to solve the problems with them. And it's kind of what we were going to talk about today. I was going to talk about some of their problems, but I was also going to talk about problem solving. Like, literally on my screen, I have an activity that's called Joint Problem Solving Steps. And so if you guys are comfortable, I'm happy to sort of roll into that. And we can even use, there's a couple of things. And remember, with teens, it's all about communicating. Like, how can you communicate so they can listen? And I know there's a book out there that's like how to talk to your teen so that they listen. I read at least parts of it, and I thought it was really good. I cannot remember who the author is, but I think I have it in the other room. But feel free to check it out. But what positive discipline talks about is like trying to see things from your teen's perspectives, all right? Putting ourselves into their position. And by doing that, hopefully they will be open to hearing our position. So when you're talking to your teen, saying, like, reiterating back, and as a coach, I do this all the time, but as people, we do this all the time. It's like, oh, so you said this, this, and this. And we reiterate that. We say that back to people that we're talking to, our spouses, our friends, whoever, our coworkers, so that we know that we heard them correctly and so that they know that we heard them correctly, right? So when you're talking to your teen and your teen comes to you and says, I'm not ready to do my homework, I want to, they have spent like 13 years becoming the people that they are, 13, 15, 16 years, and we cannot expect that it's going to change overnight, right? we are going to make little tiny dents until their brains fully develop by the time they're 25, and then we will have different children. But up until then, like they've been figuring this out for 13 to 16 years, right? In my case, 18 years. Now we're going to kind of try and make dents. And it's really, we're making dents long enough to survive their teenage years, because we have to survive them. Once your child, going back to like the problem solving, once your kid has kind of like said everything that they want to say, and you've been like, is there anything else you want to share? Just be really, it's tough to do, but just be really non-judgmental. Just listen and take it in. They're willing to share with us sometimes, not always, but they'll have their moments. Ask, like, is there anything more? Anything else you want to share, right? Don't argue, don't put back, and then just kind of reiterate back to them and use this phrasing, right? Or you can use this phrasing. So what I'm hearing is you feel maybe like aggravated because you don't want to do your homework right now and you wish you could just watch your videos, right? And just say like, did I get that right? Right? Is that what you're feeling? Okay. And then you can ask your teen, would you be willing to listen to how I feel? Right? So what have you done, like, in the conversation so far with your teen, if you can get it to work like this, what have you done as a parent so far in that conversation? It opens up the conversation. They can say, no, that's not how I'm feeling at all. And they could say something different. Okay. And then you reiterate that back to them. And then, okay, so now you're on the same page as them. You're both speaking the same language from the same perspective, not making any assumptions. You've narrowed it down to exactly what they're feeling. Or if they say, yeah, that is what I'm feeling. Okay, so the next step in the joint problem solving, right? If you can get your kid to open up, you ask them what else they want to say, go back to them and like, so this is what I'm hearing that you're feeling. You're feeling that because blank, and you wish blank. Like you're feeling frustrated because I'm asking you too many questions and you wish I would just leave you alone for a little while. Okay, great. Then you ask them, would you be willing to like hear how I feel, right? Because now that we've asked them how they feel, we're setting that example. We're being that role model for listening to somebody else's feelings. So not always, but hopefully your kid will be like, well, you listen to me, so I will listen to you. Then you say, well, I'm feeling blank because blank, and I wish blank, right? So I'm feeling frustrated that you're not doing your homework, and I wish you did your homework in a timely manner and got to sleep earlier, right? So now they're listening. And then express to your teen thanks for sharing their thoughts and feelings and for listening to yours. And then try and work together to come up with something that you can both do, right, to solve the problem. And you may, like, hey, your kid wants to be here and you want to be here, and say, like, it sounds like we're really far apart in this. How can we get closer? It's negotiation. Pretend like you're buying a car, right? You want to pay $10,000. They want you to pay $20,000. How are you going to meet in the middle? I want to stay up till 1:30 doing my schoolwork. I want you to go to sleep at 10. Okay. All right. Like 12:30, 10:15, and kind of come to something, letting them know why you're thinking this way. Brainstorm different ideas. Nothing's off the table. Throw all the spaghetti to the wall and we'll see what sticks, right? And then come to a conclusion, come to a solution and try it, right? And just try it, right? There's no harm in trying new things. I don't know how many like part-time jobs I've had when I was younger. Like I tried a job and I didn't like it, so I left. So teach your kids, again, model that it's okay to try new things. And if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world in this particular situation. Like it's fine. So, okay, you know what? You want to stay up till midnight? I totally disagree, but we're going to try it for a week. And when you're not waking up in time for school, your brain isn't functioning really well, we're going to reevaluate the situation, right? And 12 o'clock didn't work, so let's try 11 o'clock, all right? We're not going to take you all the way down to 10, but we're going to solve this problem together. And then hopefully they're learning that they need to negotiate. You're learning that you can negotiate, and you're solving that problem together. And they still have that level of independence. You're being that co-pilot. Instead of driving the solution, you're solving it jointly. And they're feeling like they're coming up with part of the solution, so they're more willing to adhere to it because they came up with the solution. Putting it into that I feel, because, and I wish kind of de-escalates that emotional, like, rah, you know, like, I'm so angry, you know, it's like, okay, this is what I'm feeling, right? And it's not the blame of, I'm angry because you're doing this. It's like, this is how I feel, right? I'm in control of my emotions. I want you child, to be in control of your emotions. This is how I'm feeling right now. Can I share that with you? Right? And again, sometimes it's easier to share how you feel, that I feel statement, when you ask them, when you get on the same page of how they feel. Positive discipline always talks about making a connection before making a correction. And that's what you're doing with the you feel, right? You're making that connection with them, and the I feel gets you a little bit of that connection, and then you can make the correction, right? I hear how you're feeling. This is what I'm hearing how you feel. This is how I feel. And then we can make the connection. We can make the connection, and then we can make the correction. Mm-hmm. And that's the parent, that's the courageousness of being a parent, being able to handle whatever they tell us and still loving them for it. That's the acceptance that we need to do for them. And the more we do that, the more they are willing to actually tell us everything. And that's really what we want them to do, so that they can learn. And we can be the co-pilot, and then we could sit in the back and let them pilot themselves. And all of a sudden, we as parents have felt like we are thrown into, oh my God, my kid is totally different. How do we handle it? And we just need to kind of give ourselves some grace and some space to be the parent of teenagers. These are no longer kids that need us as much, and we have to give them that space. We need to give ourselves space to figure out how to parent them, and we need to give them the space to figure out how to be teenagers. But it ain't easy, right? There's this great quote, Sue Atkins, and I might be messing this up, but she said, you don't have to be a perfect parent, you just have to be a real one. I would challenge you to work with your child on the I feel, like you feel because, and you wish, you know, that reiteration, and sharing the I feel because and I wish, and ask them, like reverse it, like ask them how they're feeling. You know, what is their I wish? You know, what do they want? Right? You can tell them what you think, but hear what they want as well. So somebody used some quote with me. It was like, there's a reason you have two ears and one mouth, because you're supposed to listen twice as much as you talk. So listen to your kids, like work with them together to problem solve. You know, that's how they're going to grow and learn. Right.